to the third day of RevCon. I'm Pragya, the head of marketing at RevGenius, and I'm so thrilled to present to you Amy and Bala from Fullcast. I also want to take this opportunity to say thank you to Fullcast for being our platinum sponsor. It's brands like you supporting communities like us that enable us to bring this kind of sessions for all of our community. So over to you, Amy.
Oh, thank you so much, Praga. What an awesome community. I feel so lucky to be part of it. I would love to just introduce my co-speaker, co-founder, and co-host, Bala Bhaskaran. Bala, how are you today?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you, Amy. It's good to be
Good.
here. Love this audience. And of course, this is what we live for every day. So I'm really excited to be here and talking to all of you.
Yeah, me too. I'm super excited. Well, so Praga is waiting in the wings here with a poll, and I would love to start with a poll and also invite everyone here. It's kind of weird when you're trying to talk with a community that you can't see. So hopefully you know that we want to talk with you and make this a very interactive session. So with this poll, everyone, do you think your job will be impacted by AI in the next year? Yes, it will. No, AI is not relevant to my job, or I'm not sure. So I'm voting, yes, it will. And we're going to put this poll up. And what about you, Bala? Is your job going to be impacted this next year?
I think it already has been.
For you and
Uh,
me both, our jobs are two of the most impacted by AI. And that is what we are going to be talking about today. We're going to
that's
tell
right.
some personal stories about how our jobs as RevOps professionals, we can support each other and understand what is next in go-to-market and why understanding AI is 100% absolutely necessary. Bala, do you want to go to the next slide? I prepared some notes about how cool you are, and I want to read them.
Oh,
You don't know this, that I did this, but for everyone that's listening, Bala is just absolutely the real deal. So he worked at Salesforce. He led the first effort to automate planning and operations with awesome results at Salesforce. Brings 25 years of experience in sales operations, information technology, product development, worked for Salesforce, Microsoft, HP, passionate about solving problems. Bala, I want to know, what was working at Salesforce like doing their first planning exercise?
yeah, I mean, I think, I would say that I joined at a time when the company was experiencing quite rapid growth. And of course, with Mark Benioff's strategy of buying companies, we had a few acquisitions that we were dealing with. So it was not even organic growth that we were dealing with. We were dealing with acquisitions and all the challenges that come with merging sales teams and multiple instances of Salesforce and to kind of get all that to work. And we were doing RevOps the what I would call the old school way, which is duct tape and spit and then elbow grease and trying to get it to work. Literally, we had teams of people that were managing spreadsheets. We had during the planning exercise, roughly about 1,500 spreadsheets that we would sort
My
of
gosh.
distribute to sales managers, bring it back and put it all together. None of my team was happy with their jobs because, as you can imagine, it's just crazy stressful. And that's just the beginning of it. And so once you roll out all the plans, which took us a couple of months after the start of the fiscal year to do, literally all of the moves, add changes in the daily business of running RevOps sort of catches up with you. And, we built out a team of roughly 28 people that were just answering tickets in Costa Rica. And that was, what was needed to sort of keep the team going. And that's when we sort of realized that automation is the way to kind of scale this thing. And so I spent a few years working with the CIO and really building out the automation that sort of enabled us to scale. Of course, throughout this entire process, my budget was fixed.
Uh-huh.
So, like it's the challenge that most RevOps leaders face, is that you don't get a budget that grows with the number of people you're supporting. It kind of, tends to stay stable. And so that was a challenge. And I think, after that, learning from that experience is sort of what led to us creating Fullcast, and really focusing in on that problem of helping the RevOps teams, who are really the unsung heroes, behind the scenes, that are making all of these things work, to enable a smooth running RevOps organization. So I always say it's a couple of years off my life going through that experience. But,
Absolutely right. Life shortening experiences like
That's right.
creating a technology company and founding a SaaS business. But you did it so well. And you were able to reduce those. I can just picture you on the floor, like almost like like the old school trading floor, right? Where
Yeah.
you're like, and you get a spreadsheet, and you get a spreadsheet, and you get a spreadsheet, pulling them all back together, making the deals happen, negotiating with the salespeople and the sales leaders. I mean, it is just it sounds like insanity. And
Yeah.
you think about in joining Fullcast was, there must be a better way. And anytime you have a real problem like that, something that is so painful, and you think there must be a better way, and you build a better way, then you have something special. So I think that's really interesting. One of the things that I'm excited about talking about is about AI, how it's evolving, how you're using it to automate, and to machine learn, and what that means for all of us RevOps people so I do a lot of marketing, and I also do RevOps for some of our customers. And for me, I am no Bala, but for me, it is a very, very laborious process still. And just in using Fullcast is the first time I've really been able to feel like there is a better way, and there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So in terms of the poll, I don't even know how to see what the results are of the poll, but hopefully we'll know that pretty soon. But I would imagine that most people probably, if you guys want to do that again, anyone who is on, if you can do that poll, feeling like their job's going to be impacted. But I would say that most people's are, correct?
Oh, absolutely. I think, if I was thinking that maybe one of the options should be fight the man, but it is something that, even if you don't think your job is going to be impacted, I think the tech stack is evolving in that direction, that you are going to be forced into it, right? You all probably heard the announcements with Salesforce and what they're doing with Agentforce, and what HubSpot is doing, what Microsoft is doing with Copilot. So irrespective of kind of whether you like it or not, you're sort of going to be forced into that direction, based on where all of the technology that is being used in our space is headed. There's sort of massive investments going into this space, and frankly, given what I was describing earlier, our space in the RevOps space, and I'm talking more about the operational space compared to supporting the sales team, or the SDR team and things like that. Our space is sort of very ripe for a lot of technology that has come about in the last 12 to 18 months. And so our space is sort of rapidly evolving to sort of take advantage of AI, and it goes beyond just ChatGPT. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg in a sense. Because really what a lot of companies in the ecosystem are talking about right now is autonomous AI agents, right? And being able manage and deploy a crew of autonomous AI agents that are self-learning and it can actually adapt to the business in an effective way. So you're not there like in the case of traditional automation, trying to be very deterministic about how the automation occurs. But now you have autonomous agents that are able to learn from your environment and actually drive that automation. So
I think that's absolutely fascinating. I actually have some numbers. So Joanna from Backstage got back to us, and 91% of the almost 200 people in the session right now say AI is impacting them, and this poll is still going.
absolutely.
For an industry, I pulled some stats before this. 97% of business owners think ChatGPT will help them in their business. For me in marketing, totally is helpful. 54% of consumers think AI could improve the customer experience. They're hoping, right? But 82% of revenue leaders see the long-term benefits of AI, but only half have deployed it. So there's a huge, huge jump between what people are willing to do and what people can do. And so, Bala, if we go to the next slide, I want to brag about you for a minute and talk about two of the things that you have already baked into Fullcast in order to, in advance, and which is interesting because you did this a couple of years ago and you've already been anticipating this AI movement. So can you talk a little bit more about Smart Plan and Copilot?
Yeah, I mean, I think, one of the things that is interesting to watch with AI is sort of evolving from sort of pure automation, machine learning type use cases to, generative AI, LLM, agentic interfaces. And now the direction headed towards autonomous AI agents and this idea of an organizational intelligence that is driven by AI. So, and that sort of shift is pretty rapid. In the last 12 months, we've seen people talk about organizational general intelligence and how you have to really be thinking about the role of the RevOps person changing. And I think our friends over at Clay.ai sort of coined this term as a go-to-market engineer. And go-to-market engineer is really kind of the role that is looking at how to deploy AI in an effective way. And as you said, Amy, a lot of the revenue leaders kind of see the potential, but as you said, half of them haven't deployed anything. Mm-hmm. And to deploy it, there are some issues that you have to get past, and you actually need a RevOps organization that is competent and able to deploy AI in that meaningful way. And so that's really where, from a Fullcast perspective, we've sort of focused in on two aspects of a RevOps function, which is sort of the planning side of it and then the execution side of it. So for us, we've invested in what we call Smart Plan AI, and really looking at how do you accelerate the process of planning so that it's not a once a year type exercise. It's something that can be done continuously and because of how fast things are changing. And to have an organization that can respond to the market fast, right? And that's the important aspect of it. And then once you get the plan going, how do you execute it? How do you keep everything that's going on in your environment aligned to that plan? And that's really where we've focused on this idea of a Copilot AI, really kind of dealing with the day-to-day business, and how do you make sure that when a new person comes into the org that they're given the territories, the quotas, the comp letters, how do you get that automation happening to sort of help us accelerate the ability to deploy the plans that you can come up with pretty quickly, right? So that's the sort of the perspective that we have. Again, we're evolving from, starting with straight automation, machine learning type scenarios, expert systems type scenarios, to really this notion of an autonomous agents.
I love that. It reminds me of Scotty in Star Trek, where he says, "Computer,
I'm giving her all she's got. That's the
That's
idea.
right. That's
That's
right.
the
It's a
idea.
computer, do this and this and this, and it automatically adjusts. So
Yeah,
like Bala, Star Trek is real and you are Scotty. I love
that's right.
it.
Eh, but I wanted to ask you, Amy. I mean, you've been involved with a bunch of AI companies in tech over the past few years. How do you see your role, changing as a CMO, and where do you see AI playing a big role in sort of going beyond just sort of chat GPT and content creation and situations like that? How do you see it evolving and breaking down the silos?
Well, it's really interesting that you say that because in marketing, I see two different, like equal and opposing forces, right? On one hand, you see all of these new companies that are automating conversations and pushing out content. On the other hand, you see Google and Microsoft downgrading all of the automated emails into spam and reducing the website, ratings if there's AI content. And so as a marketer, you have to really very carefully navigate that kind of thing. So for us at Fullcast, we use AI for outlines to help us work faster. But the human aspect of it, we will never ever give up because business is about people and it will never change. And so that tension in navigating between AI is really interesting. I was before I worked at Fullcast, I worked as the CMO of a digital dermatopathology platform with AI research baked into it. We were doing a lot of really interesting things with diagnosis for cancer and AI.
Oops. I think we are having a little bit of technical difficulties.
Your own.
Sorry, Amy, you cut out there for a
Did I
quick
cut
second.
out? Well, it
Yeah.
wasn't that interesting anyway. I think the main I think the main point is that there's a tension between AI, right? There's a
Yeah.
tension between human and automation, and we have to navigate that very, very strategically. So as we talk about preparing for the RevOps community, how do you navigate that tension and how do you privilege, like, a lot of people I think are worried about their jobs, right? How do you show that AI can be a support to you and help you become more strategic and help to elevate your position instead of making it something that we're all worried about?
Yeah, I think like with most waves of technology changes like this, AI is a pretty significant one in terms of impact to people's jobs. You really have to evolve, and especially in our space at RevOps, evolve to use AI as one of your tools that you have at your disposal. And if you're not thinking about it that way, then it gets harder and harder to sort of do your job. One, and two, the harder it is to do your job, you're actually stifling your organization in terms of the agility that you can provide to the revenue function within your business. And so I think it's important as RevOps professionals for us to be ahead of that curve because as automation sort of builds itself into the various platforms that we're using, it's also important for us to stay ahead of that in terms of the operational aspects of it. Now, to deploy AI effectively in organizations, the number one concern that a lot of organizations have, and we've talked to a lot of revenue leaders and CIOs, is the fact that they want to protect their organization. Security is a key aspect of it. Privacy is a key aspect of it. And so we have all of these sort of questions that need to be navigated as you're deploying AI agents. So it's not a matter of, hey, our favorite technology provider gives you AI, but really navigating all of those questions and really sort of getting to that point of being able to comfortably deploy the technology, knowing that you're protecting your organization from security, from a security perspective, as well as from a all of the things that could go wrong with the rapid deployment of AI, such as hallucinations and all of these aspects that we keep hearing about. So I think that's one of the most important things for a RevOps agent is to a RevOps function is to actually think about all of these concerns and all of these sort of hurdles that you have to navigate now as you're thinking about deploying AI. Because, clearly, as you said, a lot of the RevOps leaders want to take advantage of it, and they're going to rely on the RevOps community to sort of make it happen for them. And I think if you don't understand sort of these things that the organization has to navigate to be able to deploy AI effectively, I think that's where the challenge is.
I love what you said. One very strong concern is being able to understand where the privacy issues lie, and being able to understand as an organization what you will allow ChatGPT to know about your organization and what you won't, because everything goes public. So those kinds of governance and governance strategies are going to be extremely important moving forward to help protect organizations while we develop the knowledge base. Very interesting. So tell me a little bit more. So the strategic role of RevOps, my main purpose for wanting to do this keynote is to show the RevOps community and to promote the RevOps community as strategic leaders that can really tie together so many disparate functions. Can you tell me a little bit about how you see that, Bala?
Yeah, I mean, I really, up until now, we sort of see the RevOps function within the organization as an enabler, right? And enabling not just things to work with each other, different systems to work with each other, but also this idea of breaking down silos within, between sales, marketing, customer success, and FP&A, and really enabling an organization to be well-oiled in how that happens, so that you really bring agility to your revenue organization. That's really, for me, the key of what you do as a RevOps leader, is enabling agility for your revenue organization. And I think in that sort of direction, where I see this changing is that you really have to focus on how to break down those silos, because those silos become a significant barrier for deploying AI effectively from a RevOps function standpoint. Because more and more, I sit in a lot of discussions with companies. They're talking about like SDR as an AI agent and all of this stuff. And really, the vision that they're presenting is something that we've been talking about for 15, 20 years, which is sort of this market of one. And how do you drive automation in your outreach and your outbound that targets an individual and is hyper customized to the message that you want to deliver to that individual? Well, in order to do that effectively, you really have to break down the silos between sort of sales, marketing, and customer success, because they all have to work together in a common plan, so you don't kind of blow that message. And so while the technology is evolving to sort of enable things like that, like a market of one, and the automation to sort of drive that, the big challenge is if the back end is still sort of struggling with silos and systems that don't talk to each other, that's going to hinder your ability to sort of evolve the organization in that direction. So as RevOps leaders, I mean, I think that's what you need to focus on. And the good news is that you have AI that can actually help you break down those barriers. So that's I think where I see the role of RevOps changing over the next couple of years. Now, I say a couple of years, but that's what I would have said 2 years ago about AI, and that moved super rapidly. So
Yeah.
Who knows? This could be the next 12 months that we're talking about with
Agree. And it's interesting to see the market adopt so rapidly to this. It was an instant shift. I know that the moment that ChatGPT was released, AWS as an entire organization zeroed in, laser focused on generative AI. I have never seen an organization move so quickly at that level of, and Salesforce did the same thing, Microsoft did the same thing, and we're all trying to learn how to use it better. Like you were saying before, there's nothing worse than having an autonomous SDR reach out to the wrong person. I mean, that is as bad of a you could.
Situation as you can. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, so I think, do you have any final moments? I know we only have 3 minutes left. Do you have any final message for our RevOps leaders who are
Yeah, I
who are
just
fearful?
wanted to just, in case you're interested in talking to us and the work that we're doing in this space, we partner with a lot of our customers in sort of evolving these scenarios. Fullcast as a platform, as I said, we help with sort of everything from planning to runtime execution of your go-to-market plan, and we're constantly sort of evolving the platform along the directions that we were just talking about.
That's great. And then one question that we have from our audience: what excites you most about the potential of AI in RevOps, Bala?
I think that for me, it is finally realizing the idea that you have a self-learning environment. And I think, we've tried to do that with machine learning and things like that in the past, but it was just so incredibly hard. But I think we're getting to that point where you have a self-learning organization. And this idea of an organizational intelligence, I think that is super exciting, scary, but super exciting as well.
Yep, I love it. Thank you so much. I found a couple of other questions that people are asking since we've got 2 minutes. Another question is, what AI tools and solutions should we actually be using to stay competitive? Great question.
I think it's a great question. There is a ton of stuff going on in the sales and revenue space with regards to AI. So as with most things, I think you should try them out. I think you should do that cautiously. I think you need to put in a governance model around things like security and privacy before you go try them out. I think without that governance model, you could end up hurting yourself, I think is the way that I would put it. But try them out. I mean, it's so rapidly evolving that it's every day there is something new and something exciting to look into. I think it's going to be such a cognitive load to keep up with all of these, but really kind of focus in on problems that you're trying to address. As a RevOps leader, focus on agility as your key goal. For me, that's what gives you the superpower as a function within the organization. And so anything that enables you to drive agility to your revenue organization, focus on those things, because I think that's where you're going to get the ROI. There's a lot of fun tools to try and play with, but I always question the ROI on some of these things. But I think as a RevOps leader, for us, really is focusing in on what's going to give you that agility and what's going to drive that ROI from that standpoint.
That is a wonderful final note on that. If you want to talk to Bala, if you want to schedule a call, Pragya, I'm sure that we'll have have his contact information or mine for anyone in the audience. Is that right?
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Please also, in the audience, if you want to connect with Amy or Bala, please find them on LinkedIn. You can easily find them there, and then, of course, reach out to them. And thank you so much once again, Amy and Bala. This was such a nice, in-depth conversation, I must say, for the short amount of time that we had. And once again, thank you to Fullcast for sponsoring this session. And see you